I thank God that I have a really good daughter. I have grown kids as well. Um, um, I have all my kids are really good, you know. And I said, you know what? I may be, at the time, I said, you know what? I may be bust ass broke right now. I said, but in a year, I could be back up. I said, find the right partners, help people do the right things.
Yeah. I lay on the scale, you gotta glow, you gotta glow. She had my attention, she gotta know.
I'd like to welcome everyone to another episode of the Let's Get Podcast. I'm your host Zeke, and in this episode I have Troy Hipolito to speak about entrepreneurship and his journey in business. You can find more information about him by clicking the link in the description below. I'd like to give a content warning for any strong language used in this episode, and hope you have a nice day and enjoy the show. So, welcome to the podcast.
Thanks, Ezekiel.
Hey. So, before we get started, would you like to introduce yourself quickly so the audience knows who you are?
Yeah, my name is Troy Hipolito. That last name comes from my father. He's Filipino. So thanks, Dad. I got teased as a little kid, As a little kid, they used to say, aren't you supposed to be fat, because of Hipolito? so I fought a lot because I was a little kid. So I had to get in a lot of fights. So that's my name. I grew up in Virginia, but I've been all around the world. I'm in Atlanta now. I lived Okinawa, Japan, Philippines, California, Florida, Georgia, Chicago, you name it. I've been there. I was also in the Army, so I have quite a bit of experience, married and divorced. So I have some great kids and some probably bad experiences for a lot of guys that went through that. So, it's life.
Yeah. Cool. So now we get into the first question. What would your origin story be and how would you like to represent it? So it could either be a real or fake story.
Well, I think there's nothing more interesting than reality. People see, what did that happen? And I don't really want to get too far into it, but I think that if I had an origin story or a story about my life, it would be a book. And the title of the book would be called On the Edge of Failure, because there's a lot of things that I went through that I have overcome and still trying to do certain things in my life. So I don't know if I didn't mention this before, but of course I'm like a lot of people, I'm from a divorced family, and I was pretty poor, growing up, and I'm of a mixed race. So my father's Filipino, and my mother's from Switzerland. So everyone thinks I'm Latin, and so that causes some confusion. And so when I was growing up, most Filipinos are, for the most part, well off because they're medical, and I was a mutt and poor. So I was not really accepted all the time from my Filipino brethren, my Asian brethren. White people think I was, Mexican, and I dated outside my race. So a lot of black guys didn't like that either. And so I always felt like, you know what, if you're going to do something, do it because you want to. Don't worry about what other people think. And so that's how it allowed me to get over a lot of different things. So I was in the Army. I was a software engineer, software developer. I was a graphic designer, and that's a little left brain, right brain type stuff, and which is a little unusual. And so I was a creative director of another company, and I started my own company, and we made video games. Really, really cool stuff until it wasn't so cool, because every time we hired someone, we get them in low, because making video games or gamification, it's like the rock star programming. People loved it. I had a nice little office, less than 2,000 square feet. We had about 8 to 15 people in there at one time. The programmer and the designers were right next to each other. We were creating virtual world stuff that other people couldn't do. Very, very fun thing. The reality was that it's very difficult to produce money in that market. And so a lot of these younger guys that were really, really talented wanted to come on board, but after a year of experience, they could triple their income at IBM because they had all this experience. So it kind of left me high and dry. It was a bit rough. And then Atlanta changed in general. I'm in Atlanta right now. I've been in Atlanta for quite a while. And a lot of these larger companies that we did work for, they are a little more on the corporate side. So they no longer use agencies. They brought the team inside to cannibalize them. And so the whole agency model went to hell. It was very difficult. So you were coming around making, as a small company, making $40,000, $80,000 gross a month, having a nice little team there. It's a fun environment. We built it out. We all had Nerf guns. We're having just the magical moment, in the business, and it all halts. And so these agencies start fighting each other. You couldn't get any business. It's much different than New York or LA. They depend on agencies, And so we were, pretty small fries. We had to figure out, how are we going to get work? And I had a colleague of mine that had a similar business, and his name was Feta. He was in, I think, Argentina at the time. He moved to New York. And I said, Feta, how are you getting all this work, man? My stuff is much better than yours. I was just messing with him, He says, LinkedIn. I said, what? He said, LinkedIn. So I ran to my other buddy, and he was in New Jersey, and he was a sales guy. And he said, yeah, Troy, all my customers come from LinkedIn. I said, I thought LinkedIn was something for resumes. Like, I don't know and I realized it was really about building relationships, like old-fashioned dating. I don't know if anyone knows old-fashioned dating. That means get to know them before you proceed, very small steps, right? And I was a terrible dater. I saw something, I just went and got it. That's my attitude. If there was a problem, a lot of times I know the solution before the question came up. So I think very quickly. I know what I do. I'm an expert in all these different areas, and I'm good at what I do. But I was a terrible dater. And so a lot of times, if you know the answer before the question, you move too quickly, it's too fast for people. They don't know you from Adam, right? And it scares. It's like walking up to this beautiful woman saying, I find you very attractive. I want to have 2 babies with you, right? You probably get smacked, and business is the same way. You don't want to go in there and sell. You just want to get to know that person. And once they get to know you, they start digging in a little bit. And then if they have a need for what you're doing, they'll raise their hand. And because that personal connection. So you have to build that relationship. So what I did was, since I was a software architect, I built the steps in order to date for LinkedIn and to figure out what was appropriate. And that's what I do with clients. I have the hiring clients where I have this LinkedIn accelerator program. And if you have high value services, I help you convert if you're the right client. I only take on 1 or 2 clients a month. That's it, because it's a lot of work. And we have a team, of course, but we don't really want to take more than that. And then we have our courseware. So we have LinkedIn courses and that we're currently engaging with people that have high volume of clients and stuff, so we can make money on that end. So my idea is you need to have multiple streams of revenue, but you can't be all things to all people. Start with one, then expand to another, and that sort of thing. And so those things are working out really, really well. And I said, well, if it works out good for me, I can help other people do it. And then we created the Troy Agency. The Troy Agency helps a lot of companies on LinkedIn, especially if you have high value services, high ticket items and things like that. So I have a certain requirement to work with clients because at the end of the day, some of my mistakes were picking up the wrong client, because most clients are not that great. They will talk the talk, but they won't do the things they need to do in order to convert. And so what we're not a sales team. We get everything in front of you. We prep you. We show you how to communicate. We show you how to book that meeting. We give you that day-to-day process. We have a linked CRM that centralizes data, makes your life a lot easier. And then we even help you get to the point with those meetings, but we're not there to sell your stuff, right? So a lot of clients have problem building that relationship. They just want to sell. And I always tell them, I said, look, if you have a service that someone's paying $1,000 or more a month on per client, it's compound, right? So you get 10 clients, it's $1,000, it's 10 grand a month, each time you get one, it compounds up. It's a really great model. But these clients are not going to put that kind of money into you if they don't know you. I said, so you need to have the attitude of just helping people. Don't go overboard and do all this extra work, but have certain slots of time to help individuals, because there's only one of three things that can happen. Number one, you put out good energy in the universe. They can never talk bad about you. You help someone out, right? That actually feels good. It actually helps you motivate stuff. The second thing is they do what you say and you solve their problem. Just fix their problem. And once they get into it, they said, oh, you know what? I have 23 other problems that only Troy can fix. I'm gonna go back to him and I'm gonna hire him, And that third thing is like, you know what? They like you so much, they send a recommendation. Someone recommends you to someone else is a much easier time to convert and sell. Much easier than tooting your own horn. So you have other people talking about you. So I said, just think about that, build that relationship, and understand what the litmus test is. Do you know what a litmus test is? Where it's that little piece of paper you put in there and it changes color. It's a test. This for a lot of different things. And so the litmus test, to have someone to be potentially doing business with you, that would be equal to, does this person want to have a drink with you at a fancy bar? That's it. And you got to think about that. If we are, during these pandemic times, we're a little cautious about who we talk to, right? We're a little tighter on our money, on our secret. We need to make things work. So if I can go out and have a beer with you, well, I drink liquor, but you get what I'm saying. Go out and have a drink with you. I'm gonna spill the beans somehow. I'm gonna tell you a little bit about me, what I'm doing, what my problems are. I'm trusting you enough to have that conversation with you. That's the litmus test to actually engaging in business. Do they actually like you? So those three things, they get to know you, they get to like you, and then later on they get to trust you. They know, like, and trust. I'm sure you heard that before, but it's true. How long does that take, and how do you do that? Well, for different industries, it's a different process, but it's not all about connecting on LinkedIn and pitching them. That's like the worst thing you can do. LinkedIn is a true networking place. That's what they intended it to be. And to really network is just to understand who they are and potentially how to help them, if they need some kind of help for whatever it is, and just get to know them, and so that really works well on LinkedIn. Something as simple as, if I want to really get a high percentage of connection rates, right? Say I'm sending these connection requests out, but say Johnny here, I want to talk to Johnny. Because Johnny has a great network, and I want to get to know Johnny, but I don't want to send him a connection request right away. Maybe I want to look at his post 2 or 3 times in a week. Maybe I want to engage with his post and engage with his audience, And then if Johnny replies to me, he already knows who I am. Whether he knows it or not, he knows who I am. It's going to be planted in the back of his mind. And then after 2 or 3 conversations on a post, then maybe it's appropriate to reach out to him in a message or a connection message or a direct message or whatever on LinkedIn. And your percentage goes from like low 15% all the way to 85, 95%. Now, you not just increase the ability to be connected with that person, you've already moved that relationship down the line. And so that thought process really works, especially if you have a real business. If you're really converting business, LinkedIn is a very hot place to be, because there's money there and there's people that need a lot of times in certain services. And so on the other end, that person that's connecting with, with me, say his name is Johnny, he needs to figure out, is this guy legitimate? He may check out your profile. He may check out your client testimonials, He want to see who you are. You might want to look at your network. There's all sorts of great reasons to connect with me. I have a huge network. I have a stellar profile. And so you have to think, what are the things that I need to do to be successful on LinkedIn? Well, having a giving mentality is one of them, but having your ducks in a row is another, having a plan. So the first thing that people always forget is your profile. There's a 50% chance they're going to look at your profile before they connect with you. If anyone of any value, anyone has a valuable network, anyone that has money, all these other people may connect with you for because just to connect. But I don't even accept most connections. 70% of people who send me connection requests, I don't do it, because I don't want my network to be tainted. I want to work with people that have a positive influence in my network, and I even connect with other LinkedIn people. People said, Troy, that's crazy. You connect with your own connection, with your own competition. I said, no, they're not competition. They could be partners. You know how big LinkedIn is? They have over 700 million people. You can't really, have a competition there. And besides, my profile is probably better than his anyway, And so when you're designing your profile, you got to figure out what's going to make you stand out. So people say, oh, I just do this profile quickly. No, it takes a lot of work. You got to have SEO compliance, your taglines in there, your banner, your flow. And then once you get that profile tightened up, you understand your market better. And then you go out and you're targeting your individual market. You're creating your campaign messages, your initial campaign messages. And then the fourth thing is you can create a day-to-day process. So how can you convert on LinkedIn without being on LinkedIn all day? We have businesses to run. So that's kind of what I do on LinkedIn side. I'm pretty excited about it because I actually get to help other individuals.
Nice.
I'm sorry, I talk a lot, man.
Take a second to process all of that.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So I guess, and so let me say, a lot of times in life, you always have to pivot. So what was kind of like that in the moment, feeling of pivoting to something else before we get to later things?
Yeah, so I pivoted from my company that was developing games to my LinkedIn company out of a need. I couldn't get business. I had a ton of awards. We did Coca-Cola, we did Xbox Mobile, movie releases, and work on all those different things. We even did a Harry Potter virtual world and I think we had like 200,000 kids register on it. And it was free. We weren't charging anything. It was more fan-based stuff. But we did a lot of fun stuff that I enjoyed. But at the end of the day, the world's changed. Everybody and their mom was a graphic designer and said they can do this. So it really didn't matter how good we were. And, we were not able to generate business in that current model. And we had to convert and then build relationships. And it worked so well, we said, let's do it for other people. And that point was a major shift because life changes, the world changes, you have to change along with it, And it really opened my eyes because, again, I'm very direct. I'm type A, I have some type A traits. And I had to slow down and even realize I can't do this by myself. I'm very smart. I have a multi-talented, but at the end of the day, people don't give a F how smart you are. If they don't like you, they're not going to work with you. That's it, and it's much harder to do things yourself. So you get partners you can trust. There's a lot of partners that talk smack. I'm going to do this and that. I don't do passive arrangements. I do arrangements where it benefits them first. I'll give you an example. I wanted to create this courseware, but it's a lot of work. And I got other stuff going on too, So how can I convert this course into something that people like? I said, well, people like me. you know. I said, let me hook onto another LinkedIn guy that I trust and give him some business, right? I said, half of this is email deliverability. I said, let me hook up with this guy that does email deliverability and output on the email side. So I'm LinkedIn side, does email side. And then let me position this other LinkedIn guy to get some business, right? So Ed Forteau was my email person. And then Jean Michel, he's a French guy, he lives in Texas. So he's my LinkedIn guy because he's a professor. I'm not a professor. I'm a doer. I have a degree, but I don't have a PhD, right? I said, well, he was literally a rocket science. I can use that, right? His stuff doesn't look as good as mine. I said, but you know what? That's a good blend. So his opinions aren't always the same thing as mine, but we have crossover and that creates good energy, right? So I said, Jean-Michel, I'm going to redo my profile, but I need your help, right? I really didn't need his help, but I said, I need your help, man. He said, yeah, sure. I said, okay, great. Can we record this? He said, sure. And he was talking for like an hour on all these things. And 90% is like, there's 10% overlap. Oh, no, there's 90% overlap, but there's 10% new stuff, because we're just different people. And I said, that's great. And I took his video and I chopped it up and I created like seven videos. And I created a LinkedIn article and I created a series of stuff for him, right? He got several clients out of it. He was so happy, right? He goes, with a profile update, I charge $2,500. I said, yeah, you should. He said, well, what do you charge? I said, well, I charge 35, but I do a lot more. I do data process, targeting, all this other, and I prep them for my LinkedIn CRM. You know what I mean? So I get paid up front, and then I do a monthly to help them continually consulting and churn business, to turn up their business and stuff. So we're talking about that. He goes, well, I got clients. Are you okay with that? I said, sure, go ahead. And he goes, this might be a good course. I said, I know. I said, I have this show. I have like 3,000 people already signed up for it, and I have a monthly show. It's called the Troy Show. And it's all about LinkedIn stuff. Do you want to talk about that? He said, yeah. I said, okay, let's talk about it. And we're talking about these things, right? Profile update, all this other stuff. And I said, at the end of the free show, I said, we have a paid course, a live paid course. It's $100, and we had, and the idea was have the audience pay for your time to build the course. I'm not doing that stuff for free because it's a lot of work. So we did it, and we did 3 days, and then I did 3 days on my course, right? And his was profile, mine is how to use LinkedIn, right? So they go together really well. And then we're doing some career coaching type stuff as well. So we have about 9 hours of video. We chop it up, create a course, and then we're talking to people. And people said, hey, I have one person said, I have 3 million people of followers, right, on my social media. I don't know what that means. Yeah, they don't really have emails. It's kind of hard to convert, but it's a lot of followers, So we're talking to them. We have another person say, hey, we have a job site, but the only people on our job site are people that are seeking 150K and up jobs, high-end jobs. I said, wow, how many people do you have? 1 million? I said, that's my market. Because they're going to be using LinkedIn and they can pay for this course, And so if it wasn't for these guys, and Ed sending all the emails to make the show go well, I said, it wasn't for these partners, I couldn't have done any of this stuff. And you have to think about that. Is this a partner I can trust? Are we going to be working together? Are we not going to be so greedy? You have to find those relationships that really convert. And at the end of the day, I kind of feel that this course are going to bring me, $250,000 on top of what I'm doing on my business, and I'm small fry. That's a lot of money for me, I don't know what it is. I'm making up these numbers, but you got to think if someone has 1 million subscribers, what's the percentage you think will convert? They got an actual email. What's your opinion on what will convert? Right?
It's just like 10% or like 20.
Say 1%. Just say 1%. Who gets the email? Who doesn't? Who has the money? Is it the right audience? Just say 1%, right? Hypothetically, if someone had 1,000,000 emails and we're sending those out, right? And the course is $497. You give them a discount $250, right? That's $2.5 million off 1%. And I wouldn't even be able to have that discussion unless I had those partners. And because we create this buzz and then say, oh yeah, we have this thing, and they have the need and they want to make money too. So if someone has 1,000,000 subscribers that would pay $250 for a LinkedIn course, we give them 25%. So even if we split it 4 ways, that's a lot of money. Think about that. I hate that's go out stripper money. That's a lot of money. You know what I mean? So you have to really think about those partnerships and stuff. And also you have to realize who to cut off. That's another thing I learned during the pandemic. I cut off a lot of females. So I'm a single dad, and I've been a single dad the last 2 years, and I don't want any creeps near my family. So my goal is just to make my money, have a nice relationship for whoever it's going to be when it should be, and cut out all this negativity, because your life is like this. Mountain Dew is awful for you, but it's like this cup, right? And once it's full, it's full. You got bad stuff, good stuff, whatever in there, and sometimes you got to dump some of it out to add some more good stuff in. And so I had about 5 or 6 ex-girlfriends trying to get back. And I'm not saying they're bad people, but they're bad for me. They're not going to help me. They're a lot of takers, a lot of younger women. Not all of them, but they do what they want. Let's say that. And so I don't need that in my life. Even the fellas. We used to go out to the bar or whatever on a Tuesday night, going out, and I said, some of these people are not good for you. They're gonna talk to your girl behind their back, and they're married dudes and stuff. And me personally, I don't really care if you're married, you gay, you straight, you like 2 women, whatever. I always want people to be honest and be good to whoever they're dealing with. You know what I mean? That's what I think a good relationship is, right? And so I don't like griminess. I don't like going behind people's back and all that stuff. And I said, you know what? I'm just going to stop hanging out with these people. I'm going to start hanging out with good people that have my back, And I'm not talking about one lifestyle versus another. I'm talking about a lifestyle where they can be honest to who they're with, and then how everyone could be successful. And so I think that this whole pandemic has helped me with that portion, cut out all the BS, because there's no time. There's no time to deal with someone that's going to put negativity in your mind, go behind your back. Even these females, if she's not there for you, then just get rid of it, and then find that person that's going to match up and work with you. Because at the end of the day, we live in a finite, life. We're not immortal, and I'm old. I'm 49 years old, right? I'm like, I need to make enough money to get some stem cells, enjoy my life. I don't want to be messing with people, all these takers and stuff. So that would be kind of like my advice. And the book is On the Edge of Failure, because there's times where I made a lot of money, and there's times where I was homeless. I lost everything. I found out real quick who my friends were. Girlfriend left me. She made fun of me. I was depressed. I had no place to live. I lost everything. So I lived in a storage for a while. And I don't want anyone to go through that. And I had to learn the hard way, these people are not good for you. You need to go out there and just give out good energy and deal with good people and find those solutions, So me, I don't like excuses. Everyone says, oh, this happened and whatever, and they're complaining about whatever, I thank God that I have a really good daughter. I have grown kids as well. I have all my kids are really good, you know. And I said, you know what? I may be, at the time, I said, you know what? I may be bust ass broke right now. I said, but in a year, I could be back up. I said, find the right partners, help people do the right things, help convert, make those things happen. And so that hustle mentality mixed with a little common sense, it makes sense. So a lot of people that aren't making the money, sometimes they get very, very depressed and stuff, and that's normal. But you got to get out of it. You got to make things happen, and you can't depend on everyone else. You have to do what you have to do to get to the other stage. One thing that I had a hard time with, and I know most humans do, is not compromising your morals, your beliefs and stuff. So if you're dealing with people that are shady, you're gonna get shady stuff happen all in your life. You need to get out of that mindset. And it's hard. It's hard because that might be your whole audience. It could be your parents. It could be your brother and sister, that's holding you back. And all of a sudden these people don't like you anymore because you're not rolling with them, and everyone's your enemy. And it's not that easy because there's haters everywhere, Can you imagine this? I'm 5'7", right? I'm maybe right now about 190. I can scrap, right? But I'm too old. I cannot be fighting and show up with a black, I don't heal that fast, right? Can you imagine my life where where my own people don't even like me, right? And then I go date whoever I date, and I'm driving around or I'm out somewhere, and they don't like me because who I'm with. There's prejudice and there's hate everywhere, right? But you know what? Maybe I should not be hanging out at those places where that's going to happen. Maybe I shouldn't, do certain things but at the same time, I'm going to date who I want. I'm just not going to be stupid about it. And I'm going to deal with people that are good people. So finding that frame of mind where, pretty much I can do anything I want. I don't care if I'm broke, making money or whatever, but you have to have that frame of mind where you can kind of move ahead and make those things happen. And sometimes it takes years. It's not an instant overnight success, If your grind is small, just grind tighter until you can get out of that, be good at what you're doing and just convert. When I mean convert, I mean deliver. It's not just getting a client. It's not understanding the process, it's executing that process. And the other thing is keeping that client. That's hard. You can get new clients all day, but if you can't keep a client, then there's an issue. Even on this business, before the Troy agency was called Return Client, a little too corporate for me. But I was picking up clients left and right. They were dropping left and right because a lot of them didn't know how to run a business. It wasn't the fact they weren't getting exposure. It was the fact that they weren't even replying. They didn't have a process. They didn't want to close deals. And most of these businesses are actually like that. So I can't even work with a lot of these businesses because they're all over the place. They're not really they're not committed. They're not really hardworking. They think they are, but they're not disciplined. So out of that 100%, I can only deal with that top 10% that have the right attitude, and the right product and the right situation. Even that top 10%, I only touch on a small portion of them. And that's okay. So rather I have a lot of clients that are failing, going in and out and stuff like that, it's going to limit my money. I'd rather just take one client a month, one new client a month, and then make money off that and steady. So that frame of mind is so important. Give where you can, be honest, be good at what you're doing, and then have the ability to convert. And the fifth thing is make sure that whatever you're converting, you're keeping, because delivering on your promises are very short-lived by a lot of these services and stuff. Yeah. So anyway, I'm blabbing. Do you have any more questions for me?
And all of that, a lot of things that come up is having a proof of concept. When you talking to the person who is a professor, you already knew what you can do, and then you went to him saying, it's pretty much made that partnership saying that we both have skills and we both prove that we can use our skills. Now we can work together,
Yeah.
and then a
Yeah,
lot of
he didn't
this.
know who he was getting involved with. He just thought he was getting clients and was getting them from me. I gave them to him. So I wanted him to, because he wanted to audit I was already auditing my profile. But there's some things he said that I didn't even know. Even as a LinkedIn expert, there's always a different angle going on it too. So when we did that, I used that as a first stepping stone. How can I get him to engage with me? I asked him for a favor. I asked him to audit my profile, and then I used that to get him clients. Right? I didn't want those clients. I wanted to give him clients. I want to put money in his pocket. That way he knows where that money's coming from. He knows that I'm serious. He knows that I'm not trying to screw around. I'm not trying to take his money. He knows that, I made my money back real quick on this thing, and Troy, maybe you need help with this area for now. I said, yeah, I do need help in that area. He's more likely to help me after I already proven my loyalty, and I don't like being disloyal. And then maybe he's not a certain fit for, certain areas, and that's fine, but it's not like I'm going to hurt his business. There's so many clients out there. So if you can get in a position to help someone else in a way they understand that this dude is helping me get where I'm going, you have a higher probability this guy wants to stick with you, I have something he doesn't, and vice versa, So you want to figure out how can you make $1 out of 15 cents, literally, like I got this, but I need to do this over here, this big thing. How can I get from there to there and them, and do it in a way it's sustainable? And that's the hard part, because you have a lot of people trying to do stuff, and they're working these deals, and they get screwed over real quick because they don't know they're involved with, and what are the appropriate steps to get to these things, and how can everyone protect themselves doing it, I think, like example, the music industry, real tough, you got these, I don't know, say these beautiful women with nice voices, and they're trying to make it and all that stuff. And they got these producers or whoever, or the money people, whoever they are. Oh, you don't take advantage of these women, because, and then even if you are, a male that's doing really well, that whole industry is kind of stacked against you. How they cut it out, what money you're getting, they give you money ahead, how you need to pay it back, conversions and all that stuff. They're not really living that lifestyle. Most of them, 99.9% of them, not living that life. They get a little play money, and they think it's a lot, and then they have to produce in order to make it, almost be broke. Same thing with if you're good at basketball, what's the chance of you being that NBA star? Just because you're good at basketball, it's slim. And so everyone thinks, I'm gonna be like that, I'm gonna be the lottery. Well, I wouldn't think about it like a lottery. A lottery is a chance. That's a bad attitude. That's a bad way of thinking about it. What you need to think about is, how do I get to a successful place? Not the fact that certain things are realistic or not realistic, but how can I get here on that first step where I'm making that little bit of money, and then how do I move from there to there, right? How do I align myself with the right people? So yeah, you're absolutely right. Figure out who the right people to work with are, and then give them something. Give them something where they're going to want to continue to work with you. Because at the end of the day, I think by the end of the year, I'll make some money off these courses. He's going to make some money off the courses too. I don't mind. Someone says, oh, they get greedy. And so the problem with a lot of entrepreneurs that are starting out is they get a little something, they want to keep all of it. They say, well, there ain't but so many pies. We can't split the pie up in so many pieces, right? You know what I tell them? Make more pies. That's it.
Definitely. Because a lot of times it's hard to find, like, when you want to work with somebody, but you want them to be genuine. And it's like that first initial step is like, how do I make it a genuine relationship and not just a transaction?
Yeah, yeah. You have to have a lot of stuff that's understood and a lot of things in the background, you know? And my whole thing was how do I get from point A to point B? And then how do I help that person doing it? Because at the end of the day, there's very few people going to look after you. And I hate to say it though, sometimes you have to go outside your comfort zone. You know, sometimes you got to deal with someone that's not your own people, or sometimes you do. You got to just know where to go and why to go, and base it on that a level of integrity, you know, of something happening. So you don't want to throw the dice out there for desperation. You need to know what your worth is, and you also don't need to be bloated. You know, you don't want to have a big head, go out there. You want to have a level of being confident but humble. You know, that's just how I feel, and everyone kind of rolls a little bit differently. But you have to, be a little stronger than the next individual. And sometimes you got to let stuff just roll off your shoulder. You can't be worrying about people mad at you or hating at you and stuff like that. I've learned where sometimes it's not worth even arguing with certain people, and they want to say something, and I get, there's certain things that kind of like poke you, that wants you to kind of respond to that certain thing, right? And I had to tell myself, do I really need to respond to this? This person is pissing me off because they saying something off, right? But the energy to explain to them, and them don't even, some people are such idiots that they'll clown you for stuff they do. Is it worth engaging? Sometimes you got to disengage. And they'll fall off afterwards. You don't put too much energy. Even simple argument, I've got no time for BS. Could be simple as like everyday stuff. Like I'm combing my daughter's hair, I'm brushing her hair from the bottom up and all that to get the kinks out. You don't want to start from the top because it's kind of hard on their head, right? And so there's a certain way of doing it. And then someone walks in there and she sees you on that part and you get a little kink. Oh, so you shouldn't be combing your hair like that. And she's telling you how to do. I have 4 kids. I know what to do. You know what I mean? And she telling me like, you can't be doing it. And she get in my face telling me how to comb my daughter's hair, right? I could tell her just to fuck off. Or it could be a big, and arguing with a female is difficult nowadays, right? Because you never know. And I'm being hypothetical now. You right, because she's none of your business, and she just happened to see you, combing it the wrong way. You tell her fuck off, and she hits you. You hit her back, because I'll knock her out, but I don't want to do that because I'm gonna go to jail. So something as little as that, it's just sometimes it's better to say, oh, okay, and move on, just sweep it off, because I don't need to fight for every little thing. I'll fight when I know that I'm gonna get into it. I have to get into it, but in reality, that's very rare where you have to fight. A long time ago when I was married, my ex-wife cut someone off, not on purpose, but the guy was driving, where they have it's not a lane, it has the lines on it and all that. So he was not driving the road. She didn't see him, and she merged properly, but he was too close. He followed us in our complex, on our condo complex, and he's a big guy. I'm a little guy, and I had slippers on, and so he's about 240. And I'm gonna be tossed all around, and she's in his face and everything, right? And so all I can do is I'm a scrap, but I'm at a disadvantage. I already know, but I have to protect my wife because she's a little hothead or whatever. She's like, but she don't know danger. She don't see danger how I see it. So I get in between it and I get right in his face. And I said, well, we can go right now, but you don't want to go into jail. Then he had to think, what is he talking about? I said, you're the one drinking. So I had to put one foot, and I had I had to poke his eyes and rip his ear off or something, because that's the only thing I got, right? Because I'm gonna lose that fight. He's just too big, and I'm in slippers. So there's not much, even though I'm a scrapper, I already know, like, this is not gonna work out well for me. And he says, what do you mean I'm going to jail? I said, you're drinking and driving. I seen you get out the passenger side. So we going or what? And I had to use my mind to get out of it, because the last thing I want to do is get him. I'll fight him if I have to, but I do not want. He backs out, he apologizes, and leaves. Because sometimes you just get rid of it, move on. And because you got a finite amount of energy, use that energy to do good. Use that energy to make some money. And so that's my advice to everyone. If you got, negative people around you that are not helping you out, number one, fix yourself. Figure out, am I being unrealistic? And then when you get good friends and partners will call you out. And you'll mess up once in a while. You're human. And you may not realize what you're doing. So you need to self-correct first and not judge, these other people. And then you can kind of move forward and then work with good people in order to convert whatever business you have going on. We all have the ability to do great stuff. I mean, I'm married, I'm divorced. I had very beautiful women I dated. I had them diss me real bad as soon as my money went around. I had male friends that just did me wrong and all this other stuff. You know what? It's half my fault. You know why? I hung out with those people. I dated this person. It's at least half my fault. We need to choose better and do right. So that's kind of my moral of the thing. So that book, On the Edge of Failure, has a lot of those like real stories that happen and stuff, and we'll even have things like what I want to do. My next book is going to be called the LinkedIn Red Book. It's professional about how to convert on LinkedIn. But On the Edge of Failure, if I get a chance to write that, it's going to talk about all the funny stuff too. I have my friend, a good friend of mine, Tahoe, and she's a big gay girl. She's like, she's like a stud, that's the word. And I said, it'd be funny if we had a web series. She said, yeah, we can do a web series. And it's called Tahoe and Troy Trying to Finding Love in Atlanta. So you got a big gay girl, and you got an Asian dude, and she has she's missing a leg. So she comes out, like it's a skit. She comes out, says, Troy, I told you not to mess with that girl. She's gay. And I said, not anymore. And then she throws her fake leg at me, right? So that's the opening scene. But you can have a cool web series where these two people are really trying to make it. So they show the highs and lows of, what happens in Atlanta and how foul people are and things like that. And I think things like that are not just entertainment, they're edutainment, because they show like, look, these people are on the hustle. They have made some mistakes. They're trying to make things happen. They live this kind of lifestyle. How can they live this kind of lifestyle and all this other stuff happen? How did they correct themselves? So a lot of these things are just cool business ideas. So that's where I want to get to the point where I have money coming in from the courses. I have money coming in from the clients. I'm going to do this do these web series, do stuff. I actually want to create a dating service for LinkedIn. You know how many divorced white dudes want to date outside? Their kids are grown. They're 45 to 60. They're lonely. They got money, but they have no swag. Sometimes they just need a date. They need to get out. That's another business idea. Can you imagine, that potential market there? So there's so many different things you can do. You just can't do them all at once, So keep your dreams alive and work through these things and just work with good people and be a good person. I had people tell me about myself. I had someone say, Troy, this is a long time ago. She says, I had to get psychic, what's they call it when they go into psychiatric help? I said, I did that to you? I said, what? So this girl had to go to a hospital and be checked in. And this is many years ago when I was younger, right? Many years ago I was younger. I was ignorant as hell. And then she wanted to get back on me. I said, no. She says, why not? I said, we're compatible. We're physically compatible, right? Oh, yeah, it was great in the bedroom, and she's a good person, all this other stuff. But I had to think, no, Troy, you can't do that. We're better friends than lovers because I sent you to a hospital I didn't even know. And I don't want to do that. I don't want to hurt people. So I would rather be your friend than have some fun. You know what I mean? Because that's morally wrong. If I didn't know any better, but she told me about it and she corrected me and I got it. I kind of understood. I'm like, you know what? Yeah, I'm kind of, I'm in my own zone sometimes, and by doing that, I damaged her. I said, no, I can't do that. I said, I help you with your business though. I'm gonna help you, be successful in this area, because I know you. I know you're going to do certain things well, and I helped her, So you have to have a moral standing, and that's the fact that you're not going to make any mistakes, but you got to have that. That's that core that people are going to be attracted by, the real people, the people. If you lose your money or something go left, they can kind of push you in the right direction. They said, Troy, you know what you said in the meeting? They said, yeah, you should have said it. You need those people to tell you. Because sometimes, again, you're ignorant. Sometimes you have to get out of your own way to make stuff happen. So that's my moral of the story.
All right. It's almost 11:30, so then we go stop it right there.
Awesome.
Yes. So thank you again for joining the podcast. We'll let people know where they can find you, find your services.
Yeah, if you go on LinkedIn and look for Troy Hipolito, that's Troy. My last name is Hipolito. I'm the not so boring LinkedIn guy, so I'm very easy to find on there. Feel free, send a connection request, but please tell me you were listening to the podcast or some information, because if you just send me a connection request and I don't know who you are, I will not accept it. So I want to connect with good people. All right. And I also have a show, Ask About It. It's called The Troy Show. It's on LinkedIn. It's a LinkedIn event, and it's a Zoom, kind of like this right here. But we only take on 100 people a month. We have, I think, close to 3,000 or 4,000 people that are registered. But look that up on LinkedIn as well. And they're all, I'll go ahead and subscribe to it. It's once a month.
All right. Thank you. Again, thank you for joining the podcast.
Thank you. I really appreciate the time.
That brings another episode of the Let's Get Podcast to a close. Again, you can find more information about Troy Hipolito by clicking the link in the description below. For next week, I'll have my friend Francis on the podcast. Hope you tune in Wednesday, and I hope to see you there.